I remember waking up at exactly 18 days postpartum after a night of countless wakings. I looked around my room. My nightstand was an array of pregnancy books that I never finished reading and stale cups of tea that I never finished drinking. The dirty diapers on the floor beside me reminded me of last night's chaos. Hospital discharge papers I had no intention of reading occupied my dresser, but the squeak of the binky beneath my foot as I got up was the final blow. I knew I couldn't live like this anymore. Caring for a new baby was tiring, but living in this chaos was becoming exhausting. So just as God did when he created the world, I began to invite some order back into mine. I attached my daughter to my chest in a cloth carrier, made my first cup of coffee since giving birth, and I got to work. With each surface I cleared, I could feel my mind following suit. With each drawer I organized, my thoughts began to do the same. Putting my space back together in many ways felt like putting my life back together. I know the hours seem fewer now, and there's more to manage than before, but what if you hit the reset button today? What if you chose just one small space to make a little bit better? What if just as God took what looked like chaos, gave it order, and in the end called it good, you did the same with your home? So hey mama, and welcome back to my channel. That was an extract from my devotional that I'm working on for the fourth trimester. And I wanted to read it because I feel like it just captures that feeling of, like, I remember after having a baby, or even before I had my daughter, being told that, like, get used to like the house being a bit of a mess, like things aren't going to be like as you're used to, like just focus on taking care of your baby, just focus on healing. And it sounded like fantastic advice and it made a lot of sense. Like when you become a mother for the first time, it's all consuming. Like learning how to take care of a baby for the first time is a lot. I also had a C-section, so I knew that I'd have to pace my body. But I remember coming back from the hospital and, okay, taking on this advice, like really just giving myself a vacation from taking care of stuff, around the house. But I got to a point, really about 2 weeks in, where I just, like, the mess was beginning to be exhausting and I missed the rhythm that I felt in my home. I missed walking into my bedroom and knowing, okay, like I need a diaper or I need my vitamins. Let me just go ahead and grab it. I didn't know where anything was because everything was a mess. Every time I had to change my daughter, I dreaded it because, is this onesie like the right size for her? Is it too big? Is it dirty? Is it clean? So I began to re-invite some order back into my life postpartum. But of course, my primary goal and your primary goal during postpartum is your recovery and learning how to look after this new baby. So today I wanted to share with you 5 tips that really helped me to manage my home in this postpartum season that I think can help you too if you're a new mum, or even if some of these tips will be applicable, like if you're just in a period where life is a lot, like maybe mentally you're struggling, maybe you're going through a different kind of transition in your life and you want to have some order in your life, but you may not have the capacity or the time or the resources to create that order in the way that you're used to or in the way that you would like. So let's get into it. And in case you're new here, hey, my name is MAYFAIR. I am the founder of Making a Mother and I am a postpartum care specialist. I'm passionate about making sure that we have the resources that we need as first-time Christian mums to thrive, to put God at the center and to enjoy this period, as well as just talking about the things that I think don't get talked about enough so that we can be equipped. Motherhood is a beautiful journey, but it is also deeply stretching. So that's just the goal of this channel, is to provide some resources that maybe make it a little bit easier, maybe make it feel a little bit lighter. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So my first tip for managing your home with a newborn is baby wearing. I had a cloth carrier, especially when my daughter was like from the time she was born, pretty much. It was a cloth carrier that I was using. I will link the carrier that I used. I think the brand was Boba. And I liked it because it's just super, super snug. I could tell that she was very comfortable in there. And it didn't put any strain on me. It takes a bit of a while to kind of figure out how to wrap it, but once you have wrapped it, I really just enjoyed that feeling. It just kind of feels very, it kind of just feels like you're just giving your baby a warm hug all of the time. But you can explore which kind of carriers that you want if you don't want the faff of having to like tie and untie a carrier. I know there's ones that you can kind of just like clip into place. But I really liked the cloth carrier because it's affordable, and you can just wash it, like you can just put it straight in the wash. And I like that it was multi-use, like you can use it as a blanket, you can use it whatever, because it's literally just a stretchy piece of cloth. But the reason that this is a great tip for managing a home with a newborn is it just allows you to get stuff done whilst also bonding and connecting with your baby. And a mistake that I made from the beginning was like, when my daughter was down for a nap, that's the time that I would then use to try and like clean, get my house in order, things like that. But then I'd find that I was just exhausted by the end of the day. So I actually switched things. So I would do what I needed to do, whatever I could do whilst my daughter was awake, I would do it. So I could strap her to my chest, clean a couple of bottles, clean a couple of dishes, maybe organize my nightstand, maybe make the bed. And it kind of, because I think when you become a new mum, it constantly feels like you are on a timer, on a time crunch. Like you're kind of dreading your baby waking up because it means you're going to have to stop your task. But I found just being able to wear my daughter, one, that closeness was just really beautiful. And now, my daughter's 3. I can't wear her in a carrier. I have like a little toddler sling, but she doesn't like being in that for very long. So it was just really sweet, like just kind of having her close to me. But it also means that, if she does wake up, like I'm not thinking, oh gosh, I have to stop what I'm doing in the middle of the task. I can just kind of strap her to me and keep going. So for me, it kind of gave me that freedom back. Also, like, babies fall asleep really well in that carrier as well. So if you have a baby who is fussy or doesn't yet like to sleep in their crib, that can be a really good way to make sure they are sleeping and you're also getting something done in the house. And again, I'm not saying use every moment that you can to scrub the floors top to bottom. We are gonna, in the next couple of tips, get into how we can kind of adjust the standards so things still feel good but not overwhelming, and you are still giving yourself that time to recover. So I'm not saying strap strap your baby to your chest and be scrubbing the bathtub, like, no, but it's just allowing yourself to have that time to do some things that help you feel like things are in order, and where things are. Like, I think that gives you back energy. So my next tip for managing a home with a newborn, and this is really more to do with nutrition and cooking, because I think all of these things go hand in hand. Managing the home, it's not just cleaning, it's also making sure that you have the food that you need, your family has the food that they need to thrive. And this tip is simple, but it is: get yourself a crock pot and get crock pot meals. I actually only recently got a crock pot, maybe about a year ago, and I look back and I'm like, why did I not have one of these when I just had my baby? Because again, I hope you are fortunate enough to have support around you. I hope you are fortunate enough to have family and friends around you who are able to kind of drop off a meal when you need it. But the reality of, for most of us, is that we don't have that support. Like, we're not raising children in villages anymore, which is a shame. But we kind of need to try and find ways where we can give ourselves a little bit of time back. And the reason I love a crock pot meal is you can literally put like chicken, beef, whatever you want in the pot at the beginning of the day, in the morning, like maybe after you've given your child their morning bottle, and you can just get on with your day. And then by like 5-6 o'clock you have a delicious warm meal to eat. And it also means that you're not trading off, because I think a lot of times during postpartum, we need convenience, right? So we end up eating takeout, which is fine once in a while. I think it's important to give yourself some leeway and some grace, but also your body has just gone through the enormous task of 3D printing a human being and then birthing that baby either via C-section or vaginally, and your body really needs tools, it really needs nutrients to build itself back up. So we want to make sure we're getting those nutrient dense foods, and a crock pot really allows you to do that. Like you can chuck vegetables in there, you can chuck meat in there for protein, you can chuck, I always add a little bit of bone broth instead of water, like if I'm cooking chicken or beef, because bone broth is really rich in protein and it's really great for building back up what we've lost during pregnancy. I know there's like so many different models. The one that I have, I think it's like $40 off Amazon, very affordable, and has saved me money in the long run at times where I'm like, oh, I really don't want to cook today, but I know that I can just put something on in the morning. If you really want to be ahead of the game and you're watching this and you haven't yet had your baby, I highly recommend actually making like crock pot bags that you can just put in your freezer. So you just put all of the ingredients in to a bag, seasoned, have that in the freezer, and then you can just take it all out, put it straight in the crock pot in the morning of. That would be something that I would add to my postpartum prep list if I was in my 3rd trimester. I think I've seen a short of someone doing this. I'll try and like put it here if I can find it, or link it if I'm not able to. But yeah, I would 100% invest in a crock pot. This is going to allow you to have delicious warming meals without having to spend hours slaving over the stove. And we really, really need those things. We don't want to sacrifice convenience for nutrients at a time where our bodies desperately need those nutrients to heal. So before I get into the 3rd tip, I do want to let you guys know I am working on something. I realized for me after I had a baby, as well as kind of the practical tips to learn how to navigate this huge life transition, one thing that I really wish I had was spiritual resources, like just prayers that were specific to what I was dealing with postpartum. So I'm actually working on creating a space for new mums to be poured into spiritually. There's also going to be a lot of practical things as well, so tips on how to manage your home. But over the years, I have curated templates, Trello boards, systems, things that I have used to allow me to manage my home, allow me to homeschool my daughter, allow me to manage my business. And I want to be able to make those available because these are things that I wish I had from the very beginning. So if that sounds like something that you would be interested in, then comment, let me know. And I'm also working on just creating a little waiting list so that you guys can let me know if you'd be interested, if this is something that you'd be into. So I'll put the link for that down below. But I'm really excited for it. I'm really excited to have this space. More than anything, it's just going to be a space for new mums, Christian mums, to be able to connect, to be poured into, and to be lifted up, because I think we deserve that. The reason that I called my brand Making a Mother is because you know what it's like during pregnancy when you're learning, like each week, like the baby's toes are forming and they can hear and all of these things. Like we understand that babies are made, but I firmly believe that a mother is also made, right? Like the minute that a baby is born, a mother is also born. And we need to have grace for that period. We need to have resources. Mothers should be treated as tenderly and with as much support for this new life transition as honestly a newborn in the world for the first time. So that's what this is really going to be about. So I'm excited for it. But let's get into tip number 3. Tip number 3 is to understand and be okay with the fact that a little bit is better than nothing. Doing something is better than doing nothing. And that goes into what I spoke about, with tip number 1 at the beginning of this video. It didn't work for me to completely just say, I'm just going to let my house look however it's going to look. It actually drained my energy more than taking 10 minutes to pick things up. However, we need to accept that we also don't have the capacity to make our house look how it did in a different season, or how it may look, a year down the line where you're more used to motherhood, like your baby needs you a little bit less. But we need to learn to kind of adjust those expectations. So I realized for me, and please let me know in the comments, let me know that I am not the only one who does this, but if a space is dirty, I don't know why, but my bathroom is like the number 1 culprit for this. But if my bathroom's like a mess, I end up just like accumulating more mess into that space and telling myself like, okay, I'm gonna like find an hour, I'm gonna find 30 minutes to do a full deep clean, scrub the bathtub and wipe the surfaces and go through all of the drawers and like clean that. So In the meantime, because I'm telling myself, okay, I'm going to find an hour to go ahead and clean that, I end up just like letting the mess pile on and pile on and pile on. And then the bathroom just ends up being a mess. And of course, by the end of the day, when I promise myself I spend the hour cleaning, I'm tired or my daughter needs me. And mess actually begets more mess. So what I recommend doing in these instances is just accepting that it may be a while before you get an hour to clean your bathroom, but you may have a little bit of time to just clear the surfaces, right? Like maybe you don't have time to do a deep, deep scrub of the bathtub, but maybe you could just get a little bit of spray with a cloth and wipe that down. Maybe you don't have time to, go through every single drawer and declutter, but maybe you can just wipe down the surfaces to make the space functional. Maybe your kitchen really needs a deep clean. You need to go through the cupboard, you need to go through all of that. But for now, maybe what would make it functional is just wiping down the surfaces, putting away the dishes, and just getting it to a decent place. We have to be okay in this period with doing something rather than convincing ourselves, okay, let me just do nothing now because I'm going to find an hour. Like that's the biggest lesson that I wish I knew before I became a mom, is time just, it shrinks. Like time just goes so quickly, and you don't know when your baby's gonna need you. You don't know where the delays are going to be, because kids are kids, they work on their own schedule. Okay, so this next tip really ties in with the previous tip and helps you to kind of make it practical. It is simple, but I promise you this has saved me on so many occasions and has been my go-to since I've had my daughter, and that is simply to set a 15-minute timer and get cleaning. It sounds so simple, but again, I think a lot of the times what stops us from getting started in a space is that overwhelm of like, oh my gosh, like how am I going to be able to get this bedroom clean? Like it's a complete mess. But having that 15-minute timer, I don't know, for me it's kind of like a mental thing of like, okay, like I'm not committing to making sure this room gets completely clean. I'm not committing to making sure, my kitchen is clean top to bottom. I'm just committing to doing whatever I can for 15 minutes. And you would be surprised by how much you get done in 15 minutes, especially like I love putting on a podcast. Maybe you can put on one of these videos. Shout out to the channel, make sure you subscribe, like, comment. But yeah, like I stick on a podcast, listen to some music, stick my 15-minute timer on, and I just find myself getting that momentum. Oftentimes I like put the 15-minute timer on, but I'm like in such a flow that I end up just keeping going. But that 15-minute initial timer is just a way to kind of like reduce that mental resistance of like, oh, I have all of this to do. And sometimes you literally will only have the time and the energy to do 15 minutes, but your house will be in a much better state if you actually take that 15 minutes to do it. So it's a simple tip, but I don't know why it just works so effectively. I use it especially in the evening when I'm kind of closing down my kitchen. I'll just put my 15-minute timer on, and I'll just get going. Whatever I can do in that 15 minutes, I will get it done. And whatever I can't do in that 15 minutes, that's fine. I've done my best. And again, I hope you kind of realize from these tips is like the main overarching thing is done is better than perfect. Getting a little bit of something done makes a difference. And that is something that I have had to lean into in motherhood, not even just with cleaning, but even with my time with God and doing my devotional. It's something that's so important to me. And before having a baby, I was used to being able to spend an hour, sometimes 2 hours with God whenever I wanted to, like whenever I woke up. But now oftentimes with motherhood, it doesn't work that way. So I found myself like just not spending the time that I had, because I'm like, oh, what's 15 minutes going to do? What's 20 minutes going to do? But when we actually take that time that we have, you're building a habit, and over time you're going to be able to expand that time. But yeah, don't despise the days of small beginnings. Don't despise 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. All of those things can make a difference. So you can apply this to cleaning your kitchen, cleaning a bathroom, getting a task done that you really cannot be bothered to do, putting the laundry away. But it also applies to so many other areas. As mothers, like that is our gift, I truly believe, is to be able to take something that seems like a little bit and to expand it, and we can 100% do that with our time as well. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, stick a 15-minute timer on and get the job done. And actually leave down in the comments what's one area of your home. It doesn't even have to be a whole room, it could be a corner. Like, we all have that chair that just ends up piling up clothes and junk. maybe that's going to be your task to do in 15 minutes. So let me know, what is the 15-minute task that you were going to get done? For me, it's going to be my bedroom. Like, my nightstands need decluttering, my sheets need changing. So I'm just going to stick a 15-minute timer on and see what I can get done during that time. All right, so my next tip for managing your home with a newborn, and this really touches on a pain point, which if you're a mum, you know the struggle. If you've been around mums, you know that this is probably the number one thing that we complain about having to manage, and that is laundry. There's something about having kids that just makes laundry pile on and on and on. I have heard people kind of use the like one load of laundry a day rule or system. For me, that just doesn't work. I'm very much like a batch do something kind of day. Like, I like kind of having one day where I know, okay, yeah, the laundry is going to get done. I don't like having to constantly think every single day about it. But again, I have one child, so I know that for people who have more kids, that might work particularly well. But my tip here is simple, and that is to wash everybody's laundry together. When I became a mum, I don't know if it was just like a new mum thing, but I thought, okay, I need to have a specific laundry detergent for my daughter. I have to keep her clothes separate. I don't know what it was, but now what I do is I just use a gentle, I use the Tides Free and Gentle pods, which is really good for me because I have sensitive skin. I have eczema prone skin anyway. And yeah, like, I'm not here to sway anyone. Like, I really lean more towards non-toxic, and try and stay away from fragrances because they can really disrupt our hormones. I've seen the difference in my hormones. I've seen the difference in my skin, and I, as much as I can, kind of cut out fragrances and just unnecessary ingredients. I think it's good for the whole family, but more than anything, in terms of managing the home, just washing everyone's laundry together. So what I actually have, and I got this from Amazon, I'll link it. I have a laundry basket that basically has 3 compartments, and I separate, you know, our dirty clothes based off of colors. So I have one for blacks, I have one for whites, and I have one for colors. And yeah, that's just how I end up doing my laundry. And I just do all of our laundry together rather than like having my daughter's clothes in one place. And for me, this just helps to keep things manageable. I'm not sifting through and sorting through. I just chuck it in the wash, chuck it in the dryer, and then in the evening, I'll put whoever's clothes needs to go wherever in their room. So that's just a little tip, and I wanted to say it because maybe it's obvious to you, but it wasn't obvious to me when I became a mum that I could really just use a detergent that was safe for the whole family. Like, you don't necessarily need to use a baby safe, like a separate detergent for your baby, unless you are using a detergent that has a lot of fragrances and can irritate skin. But an alternative is just to make that switch for everyone. The detergent that I really like to use is the Tide Free and Clear. I know Branch Basics also have a detergent, which I have used. I'll be honest, I really like their ingredients. They're super clean. I really trust them as a brand. I use them for cleaning, like my surfaces, washing my floors, things like that. But their detergent didn't really work super well for me. But I think they do have a new one released, which I haven't tried yet, so definitely check that out. But yeah, that's just my tip. Save yourself the hassle of, you know, having to separate baby clothes and your clothes, and just separate things by colors and wash them that way. Okay, so this one is actually a little bonus tip. So if you stayed till the end, congratulations, you got yourself a little bonus tip. And that is to hire a professional cleaner. I actually have a discount code for a service called Homoglow. I really love them, and you can get your first clean for $19. Again, I put this as a bonus tip because I know it's not something that's accessible to most people. But for me, I actually found that it's more affordable than I thought. Our cleaners come in bi-weekly, and what this means is I can just kind of focus on keeping my house tidy, and they come in and they do the deep clean, do all of the scrubbing. They'll do like changing of the bed sheets, things like that, cleaning the oven, like whatever it is that you want them to do that's maybe a little bit more taxing, maybe things that are difficult to do or that you can't do whilst wearing a baby or with little time. And it's just a gift that I give myself. With finances, it's always like a give and take. So there might be something that you have to sacrifice for a season so that you can afford to do this. But it just kind of gave me that peace of mind back, and I could then use that couple of hours whilst the cleaners were in to do something for myself, to get out, meet a friend for coffee, things like that. So that's just a little bonus tip. Like I said, I will link my code below. Obviously, this is just an offer that you can use one time just so you can experience what it's like to have something done for you that you didn't have to do. Or if you have people around you who are like, I really, really want to help, tell them, hey, like, you can help me clean my home, and let people actually help you. It's gonna feel good just to allow yourself to give yourself the gift of a clean home without you having to be the one to do it, especially whilst your body is healing and recovering. So guys, I hope you enjoyed those tips and found them useful. Again, if you're a seasoned mum or even a new mum and you've got some things that have really helped you to manage your home even with a newborn, go ahead and share them in the comments so that we can all learn together. And also, if you're watching this on Spotify or on Apple Podcast, or if you're listening to this, on any of those podcast streaming platforms, please go ahead and leave us a review if you're enjoying this. It's really going to help to push this content out to more mothers who need it. And yeah, thank you guys for being here. I've really appreciated this. I know that I've been on YouTube for a while, so we have our channel The Clements, which has got over 300,000 subscribers, but putting myself out there like this and talking about this topic, it's new for me too. So yeah, just thank you guys for being so supportive on this new journey. And again, if you're interested in that community that I'm building, to kind of just put all of the resources that I have built over the years and from working privately with mothers through my coaching, then you can go ahead and sign up to the wait list, and I'll make sure that you are the first to know about it. And also that will give you an opportunity to contribute, because I want to hear as well, like, what are the things that you need that you feel like are maybe difficult to find, that would be really helpful to you if you are a new mom or you're about to embark on that journey. Anyway guys, I love you and thank you so much for being here.